welcome to my presentation. The name of it is The Importance of Games in the Development of Artificial Intelligence and Artificial Intelligence Path to Superintelligence. So there's a lot of different games. Some examples are chess, Space Invaders, and Dota. And a game has a state at any given time, which means the position of the game pieces, their movement, and their state. The game board is called an environment. Games are usually played by humans. That's the player, and it's called an agent. The agent perceives the environment through observations, and observation is the current knowable state of the environment. In chess, the entire state of the board is available in an observation, so you can see everything at once. It's something called perfect information. But in a game like Dota, you can only see the area around your character, so that's something called imperfect information. And based on an observation, an agent decides to do an action. And the effect of the action will transform the environment into a new state, which is then given back to the agent as a new observation. This cycle continues for the entirety of the game. Another key aspect of games is rewards, so also called points. In a game like Space Invaders, you get points for destroying your enemies, and the goal of the game is to get the most amount of points. In a game like chess, there really is no points. The goal of the game is just to win. You might win or lose or get a draw. But why should AI even play games? Games are something that humans do for entertainment. It cannot really be something that a serious researcher would spend time on. Well, games are actually really important in AI research, and one of the reasons is that they are safe and non-destructive. Bad performance does not mean the destruction of infrastructure, financial losses, or risk of human health. Another aspect is that the goal of the game is clearly defined. So you have measurable performance. Did I win, or how many points did I get? And the goals, in combination with many different mechanics, might lead to some interesting challenges and solutions to those challenges that might look pretty similar to some real world problems. And biggest of all, it's a way for us to compare AIs to human performance in complex tasks. And before we go into how modern game playing AI works, I want to give a little bit of background. Well, in 1997, the world champion chess player Garry Kasparov played versus an AI program developed by IBM called Deep Blue. And this image was taken at the beginning of the sixth game. You can see that Garry here is not having a good time. Garry lost at the end to the state-of-the-art program at that time. Fast forward almost 20 years to 2016, and Go world champion Lee Sedol is playing versus another AI program called AlphaGo. This image was taken at the end of the fifth game. You can see that Lee has 1 minute left on the clock and the losing position, and he's also having a pretty tough time, even though he was pretty public and confident before the match. These images are taken at revolutionary moments in artificial intelligence history, but their approaches share few similarities. Deep Blue took many years to develop and relied heavily on human experts. The program did not learn any strategies itself, it was wholly programmed to play on a high level. And this approach was not really suitable for a game like Go. In chess, there are on average 20 possible moves in a given state, which means that calculating all possible moves was a feasible way of solving it back then. Deep Blue could actually simulate 200 million game states in a second, which is pretty impressive for 1997. Go, on the other hand, has an average of 360 possible moves in a given state. So with 18 times the amount of possible moves in chess, it's just not possible to look ahead hundreds of moves. If you were just looking ahead 4 moves, you would have 17 billion possible games to look at. And as a fun example, let's compare the possible game boards in these games to the number of atoms in the universe. Chess has 10 to the power of 42 possible game boards. There are 10 to the power of 80 atoms in the universe, and there's 10 to the power of 172 possible Go board configurations. So you can see that each one of these numbers are significantly larger than the previous one. All are twice as long, not twice as big, twice as long. So for the approach in Deep Blue to solve Go, Moore's law would have to continue for 400 years to get even close to the computational power necessary. So to solve Go, you can't look ahead at all possible games. It's just not possible. To get close to human performance, we would need to try something else. So what makes this even more challenging is that Go players can't always explain why they made a particular move. They just say that it kind of felt right. So they have this unexplainable intuition of what move to make. So how could we even program something like that? Luckily, we're not the first to ask this question, and it was already solved back in 2016. You would need a subset of AI called reinforcement learning. So what is reinforcement learning? It's actually pretty similar to how we play games. In reinforcement learning, you have an environment which has a state and you're able to observe it. You have an agent that takes action on the environment. But in this case, the agent's brain is not you, it's a artificial neural network. And it tries to optimize for the best score, much like we do. So with millions of games played and sophisticated learning algorithms, it can actually achieve superhuman performance in most games tested. Artificial intelligence has been able to defeat many world champions in many different games. Just Go was done 10 years before anticipated, and its successors have achieved even more impressive results in the span of a few years. The new approaches can even generalize to other problems, all while learning strategies for itself, not relying on human expert at all. Right now, truly is an exciting time to learn about artificial intelligence on its path to superhuman intelligence.